Today we are going to be focusing on anatomy. What's anatomy again? The structure of the body parts. So we're going to be looking at this more so on today. So your homework will be to complete this. So let's go ahead and look at this sheet. No. The purpose of this activity that we are doing on today is to introduce you to dissecting and get you familiar with the tools and how it all works. So, if you look at this sheet here, it says the tools are your dissecting pan. Let me go ahead and get this over here. So in front of you, I've already prepared this for you, but you'll be taking out certain things and looking at it in a moment. But your dissecting pan looks like this. And in the bottom of the dissecting pan, there is some wax-like substance, and this allows pins to be pushed into this so that you can hold your specimen down. Other things that you have, in front of you, you have a container or a wallet type thing. It's blue. Mine is a hard case. Yours is a soft case. Go ahead and open that up. Do not take anything out because we do not need any accidents. Some of these tools are very, very sharp and can cut you and really hurt you. So, number one thing is in the lab, we do not play with these materials. Last year, we did have someone almost really hurt themselves severely, and that person could have been expelled and had charges. So, you do not want to play around with stuff like this. It's very important. Some of the tools that we're going to be working with in here, there are scissors, obviously. There is a needle, not the needle like when you get a shot from the hospital, but there's a probing needle, meaning that if you have to push or pull things apart, those are these things, as well as your other probing tools. We'll only be working with some of them. On today, we're only working with a couple of things. The very important thing that we do need to work with is a scalpel. Now, this scalpel is very, 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 very sharp. Like, do not even put your, well, not, some knives are not as sharp as this. The blade is very thin. Excuse me. Do not run your finger across. Do not even touch the edge of the scalpel because it will cut you. Even if it's a superficial, meaning a very light cut, it will cut you. The only thing that this should be touching is whatever specimen that we're dealing with. And when we're not, it gets placed back into your kit that you have with the blade not pointing towards you, pointing away from you. And that's very important. Do we understand that? All right. So what we are going to be looking at today, your specimen actually is a pickle. So there are enough materials at each location. If I can have somebody to go ahead and trade over there so Angry Smurf will have a partner. Tim, why don't you go on the other side with Justin? Yeah. Let's go. Come on. Thank you. You three, Deonasia, Steph, and Naya will work together, Mike and Joy. So bring your tools in front of you. You should have your specimen in front of you. Let's see if I turn this off. Not very good to see. Where are you going? Sit down, sit down. All right, good. You three, good. Good. Excellent. All right. So notice on your paper, it says you're going to be looking at the ventral and the dorsal. What's ventral mean again?
Front.
The front. So go ahead and fill that blank in as front. Dorsal is the back. Now let's look at our specimen here, because at one time our specimen was alive. Let's rest his soul. Dun, dun, dun. It's dead now. When was it alive? When it was a cucumber, but even before then, when it was actually connected to a vine, because even when we pulled it up, pickles are cucumbers. Pickle. Now they die. All right. So, what side is the ventral side? Is it this side? Where, you notice? Well, look how you have the curvature of your old cucumber, now pickle. And this would be like the back area. This is the spine area. And this would be the ventral, the stomach area. It's okay for you all to touch your specimen because you all are certified physiologists. All right, so we're going to place our former cucumber, ventral side, or actually we don't need to place it anything yet. We need to look at our directions because it says describe the exterior of the body and draw them on your paper. So, in describing the ventral, that is obviously the, what again? The belly, the front side, and it says describe it. And we're going to draw it. So go ahead and take a moment to do that, make a description and draw it, and then flip it over to the dorsal and make a description and draw it. Let me guess, you don't like pickles. She don't like nothing. I like pickles. You got some more? And? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay for your lab sheets to be dirty, messy in the lab when we're doing dissections. All right, guys, take about 5 minutes to go ahead and describe and draw your ventral side and your dorsal. The one thing that you do want to point out with the dorsal, this is your curved side. Your ventral side is more concave, meaning that this part dips in, this part bends out. Pickle it. Yeah. It's like pickled pig feet or something like that. Ew. It's disgusting. All right, let's not take too long so that we can get through to the fun parts. Give you another minute because it really doesn't. Our specimen that we have here is not very complex. Not a lot to them. While you're drawing, normally your kit would have what's called T-pens. They're not here today, but they will be here. T-pens look like this. They look like a T. It's a pen, and what this is for is holding down the specimen, and it would actually hold right into that wax at the bottom so that your specimen is not rolling or moving around or flopping all over the place. Because when you actually open up the specimen so that you can see the inside of whatever it is that you are dissecting, you want to be able to hold down the skin or the outer layer so that that's not flapping all over the place or it's not sliding all over your tray. So I'm going to hold this down with this. And actually, I will come around and give everyone a push pin to pin their specimen down. Because I believe part number 1 says lay your specimen ventral side up. Place the T-pin to hold your specimen down. So go ahead and do that now once you get your T-pin. It's best to probably put it in the top portion and just push it down so that it's just placed in there like that. So kind of like mine is right there. Ventral side up, which means the dorsal should be touching the pan. I have it at the top portion, right here. All right, let's take a look. Now it says, using the scalpel, we're going to make a superficial midline incision. Let's think about this for one moment. What's superficial? It's not fake. It's not that deep. Because what you have to, why do you think we're making a superficial incision? What's an incision? It's a cut, slice. Why do you think, well, he's already dead. So we don't cut up the inside of the organs. Some of the specimens that we will be cutting into or will be cut into, this layer of skin is very thin. The epidermis is very thin. Some is very thick. So you'll have to do 2 cuts. It'll be a cut of the outer layer of skin, and then it'll be a thicker portion when you need to use scissors to cut through. But if you take it and you stab through your specimen, then you're going to damage organs, and you're not. And because remember, sometimes the purpose of doing a dissection, who does dissections? Autopsies, which are called the surgeon or some type of mortician or something like that does it. The purpose of doing that is so they can see the cause of death. If you stab into the cadaver and cut it open, then you don't know if those stabs are from you or from the cause of death or something happening on the inside of them. So you want to, when you're doing this, you want to leave everything intact as much as possible, with the exception of where you have to cut. So, then it says midline. What do we mean by midline? In the middle. So in your space, go ahead and put in the middle. Now when we say in the middle, am I cutting across this way? No. I am cutting from proximal to dismal, which means from the top to the bottom. So you're going to take your scalpel. You can decide who's going to do it. Be very careful. Do not hand her that scalpel with this point to her. Hand it to her like this and do not play with it. Make sure that, wait. If you are doing the cutting, notice how I am standing in front of my pan this way, where the top of my specimen is here, the bottom is here. It is not in front of me this way, and I will not be cutting like this. Because I am going from top to bottom, I want to be able to have the specimen being top to bottom. You can always move the tray around. You don't want to be awkward. So we're going to make a superficial cut. And with doing that, you will see how sharp your scalpel is. Now, because this is a sample, you can go ahead and just take your hands and just pull it open a little bit so that we can see the inside. No, you don't need to wipe it off. Don't do that. Don't wipe it because it could easily cut. You can put it right back. All right. Now, like I said, push pins are normally available because what will happen, this would normally, if this was a actual organism or an animal organism, you would just take the push pins, if you had a pair, and you would set them on the side so that you can hold your specimen up. And what do you see on the inside? And seeds. Obviously, these are the seeded areas. What type of organ would those be? What system? These are seeds. Reproductive. It is definitely part of the reproductive. This is not a very complex organism, correct? All right. So the purpose of this portion of activity was just to get you familiar with the tools and dissecting, because that is what we're going to be going into with this unit. If you take a look at your paper, you guys can go ahead and put your tools back. I'll come around and give you some specimens to sample. Not the ones that we just cut open because your hands have been all over it, and these dissecting tools are not clean to be eating after. All right, but if you take a look at your paper, you will notice part 2. You're going to go to this website, and this will give you a virtual dissection. Follow your instructions here. When you come in tomorrow, be prepared to be grossed out. Nothing. It is front and back, but you do not finish this homework. So go ahead and before we start this, what I need you to do is put your scalpel back in, take your push pin out, lay it flat on here, and then somebody can take their formerly cucumber and dispose of it, and then I'll come around. Yeah, we're done with this.